Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah. Now, this hair is something that is given to their gods. It is just like if a person slaughter in the name of for the jinn and give you, it is haram for you to eat it. If a person slaughter for a jinn and give you some lahm, some meat, Aba Munir, it's haram for you to eat it. If a person cook a meal intending the jinn for that meal, it is haram for that meal to be eaten. So likewise, having their hair and cutting it up, and they would be shaved bald. I'm talking about women, they would be bald-headed, like mine, right here, bald. And they will give that hair to what? To their gods. They will give it to their gods. So that's the same hair you find Muslim women fighting over, trying to spend a lot of money. Trying to spend a lot of money on that. Why? Number one is the matter of the disbelief that is in it. And the other one is the matter of resembling the kuffar. The resembling of the kuffar is lighter than that which is the disbelief. Why? Because this material that you're using, it has been given. Right? It was a sadaqah to their gods. It was a vow to their gods. Now, when we see that thing, I say, Subhanallah al-Azim. It's wow. What ghusl? You the one that worry about the ghusl, not them. They care about the hair not going bad, so that's why you find them, some of them don't be making no proper wudu. You know, some of them won't be making the ghusl properly. Akhi, this is why when a person involved in sins, it is always that if you don't retract, the smaller one lead to the bigger one. And now it's a big old industry. I'm talking about a big industry. And more so in the Muslim lands. I'm talking about big time industry now. May Allah safeguard our wives and our daughters, our mothers, our aunties. May Allah safeguard them. Not only the doing it is haram. Not only the adding the hair is haram. Not having your hair added is haram. But there are matters that goes beyond that. Because now it is a matter of ibadah now. That is you taking someone else ibadah for other than Allah. If a person slaughter a sheep for the jinn, you cannot eat that meat. So that's the same ruling as this hair. Because when they cut their hair, they are cutting it and giving it to charity to their gods. Inshallah, if we find a clip, we'll share with the brothers bi'idhnillah. So he mentioned, Hafidhahullah, قال الله تبارك وتعالى in Surah Tawbah. ولا تصلي على أحد منهم مات. He say, and here it was addressed to the Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام. ولا تصلي على أحد منهم مات أبدا ولا تقم على قبره إنهم كفروا بالله ورسوله وماتوا وهم فاسقون. Allah تبارك وتعالى mentioned in Surah Tawbah verse number 84. He say, addressing the Prophet ﷺ and anyone else from the believers, وَلَا تُصَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ مَاتَ أَبَدًا. And do never pray on none of them that died, meaning died upon disbelief. Do never pray over none of them that died upon disbelief. As-salah here, it could also mean ad-du'a. Barakallahu feekum. Ad-du'a, talabul istighfar. Do never pray over none of them that died upon disbelief. Do never seek istighfar for none of them that died upon that. He say, وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَىٰ قَبْرِهِ. And do not step foot in his what? On his grave. Do not step foot on his grave. This is why it is not for the Muslim to go to the grave of the kuffar. But rather, if we pass by the grave of the kuffar, what do we say? We give them the glad tidings of what? Of the hellfire. We say to them, Abshiru bin nar. We give them the glad tidings of the hellfire. And this is one of the sunan that barakallahu fikum we should revive upon passing by the graveyards of the disbelievers. To say what? Abshiru bin nar. Because the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, anytime he passed by the graveyards of the disbelievers, he will say this: receive the glad tidings of the hellfire. Glad tidings of the hellfire for you all. He said, Innahum kafaru billahi wa rasulihi, because they disbelieve in Allah and the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, wa matu, and they died while they were in a state of fisq. While they were in the state of fisq. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, open enmity against Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. فَالْمُسْلِمْ, the Muslim, he said the Muslim is not to be barakallahu fikum partaking in the graveyard of in the burial of the disbelievers. He said likewise, وَلَا يَجْهَزُهَا, and he doesn't accommodate them. And he does not accommodate them. وَلَا يُدْفَنْ فِي مَقَابِرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, the disbeliever is not to be buried in the graveyard of the Muslim. He is not to be buried in the graveyard of the Muslim. Now whoever is talking about death, you must talk about what? If you're talking about death, you must talk about what? Now after, when you say death, life is done. That's before. Before death. Yes. Before death, what kind of? Right. In general. Huh? Sickness. Right? Sickness. So now here the Shaykh is mentioning a point that is very important. He said, وَأَمَّا عِيَادَةُ الْمَرِيضِ مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ. Now listen to this very carefully. As visiting the sick one from the disbelievers. As visiting the sick ones among the believers. Disbelievers. Jazakallah khairan. He said, أما عيادة المريض من الكفار إذا كان من أجل الدعوة إلى الله فإن المسلم يعود المريض الكافر ويدعوه إلى الله. He say, if as far as the visitation of the Muslim to a sick disbeliever, if it is to call him to al-Islam, na'am. If it is to call him to Islam, yes. He say, فَإِنَّ الْمُسْلِمَ, as the Muslim, يَعُودُ الْمَرِيضِ الْكُفَّارِ أو الْكَافِرِ, he will visit the sick one from the disbelievers, وَيَدُعُوهُ, and he call him إِلَى اللَّهِ, he call him to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. This should be the reason why a Muslim is to be visiting a disbeliever that is sick. This is the reason why the Muslim is to be visiting a disbeliever that is sick, to call him to Islam. To call him to Islam. He said, فَقَدْ عَادَ النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام يهوديا ودعاه إلى الإسلام. He said the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam visited a Yahud, a Jew, and he called him to Islam. He said, فَأَسْلَمَ وَمَاتَ عَلى الْإِسْلَامِ. And alhamdulillah, that Yahudi, he what? He accepted Islam and he died, alhamdulillah, embracing Islam. وَشَهِدَ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. He bear witness that there is none to be worshipped in truth but Allah. وَأَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ, and he bear witness that Allah is the only deity to be worshipped in truth, and Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is indeed the Prophet of Allah. وَعَدَى, and the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, وَعَادَ, he, the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, visited Ammuhu Abu Talib. He, the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, visited his uncle Abu Talib fi marad al-maut, during his sickness of death, right? During his agony and the like. وَقَالَ لَهُ, and he told him, Ya ammi, O you my uncle, O you my uncle, قُلْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, say La ilaha illallah. This was the whole conversation about. When he was on his deathbed, when he was agonizing, he told him, Oh, you my uncle, say La ilaha illallah. Say La ilaha illallah. So he mentioned, فَإِذَا كَانَ عِيَادَةُ الْمَرِيضِ الْكَافِرِ مِنْ أَجْلِ دَعْوَتِهِ إِلَى الْإِسْلَامِ فَلَا بَأْسَ بِهَا. If going to visit the disbeliever, the sick disbeliever, is to call him to Islam, he said there is no problem with that. There will be no problem with that. There will be no problem with that. وَأَمَّا إِذَا مَاتَ عَلَى كُفْرِهِ, but if he die upon his disbelief now, فَإِنَّ الْمُسْلِمِ, the Muslim will not be entitled to his what? To his burial. The Muslim is not to be in charge of his burial. وَلَوْ كَانَ أَقْرَبُ النَّاسِ إِلَيْهِ وَلَوْ كَانَ أَبُوهُ, even if he is from the closest one to him, even if that's his father. وَلَمَّا مَاتَ أَبُو طَالِبْ عَلَى الْكُفْرِ, شوف, when Abu Talib died in disbelief, when Abu Talib, he died upon disbelief. طيب, when Abu Talib, he died upon disbelief, لم يتولى الرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام دفنه. The Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام did not take care of his burial, nor did he accommodate his burial. بل أمر ابنه عليا, but rather he commanded Ali radiyallahu anhu, his son, to go to dig on the earth, and to bury him. ولا يترك على ظاهر الأرض, so he will not be left on the surface of the earth like that. Because look, the pagans of the Quraysh, they had a beef against Abu Talib. And they didn't like the stand of Abu Talib. Right? The pagans of the Quraysh, they didn't have a stand, they had a stand against Abu Talib. That's why when he died, they all turned their backs to him. Why? Because while he was alive, he was what? Protecting, defending, aiding the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. He protected him, he defended him, and he aided him. And he asked his own children to go what? And defend him. So they had a stand against him. So they left him. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ asked Ali radiyallahu anhu to go and bury his father, to dig and bury him, and not to leave him like that on the face of the earth. Allahu Akbar. And now, why is that? لِأَلَّا يَتَأَذَّ بِهِ النَّاسِ, so the people will not be harmed by the body that could possibly decay. For that the people, the people in general, won't be harmed if the body happened to decay. If the body happened to what? To start rotting. So here, this, alhamdulillah, was the second point in regard to the ruling pertaining to the disbeliever. We have taken a little minute because we wanted to finish this second one. So inshallah, our next class will be going over the third one, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, which is that the Muslim is not to inherit the disbeliever. The Muslim is not to inherit the disbeliever, nor the disbeliever is to inherit the believer. Sheep. For other than Allah. That's a very good question. He said, how do you know that he is not slaughtering